faithful Niner Empire. What's good? Man, Monday Night Football, prime time. The 49ers get a victory. Welcome back to the Straight Out of the Bay team, man. We've got a Bay Area baller. We've got a Mean the Dream. Kelts may be coming in 50-50. We'll see what happens. But, man, the Niners needed a victory in the worst way. We got it against a division opponent. We are tied in the NFC West. I mean, what more could you ask for, Bay Area baller? I mean, what did you think about the game, E? I mean, are the 49ers back? I mean, let me know, E.
Hey, 49ers are back. I will say, started getting a little sketchy there in the second half, right? Niners got it up to 23-3, and you're feeling good. And, a couple plays, a botched special teams, and next thing you know, it's 23-17, and you're thinking, man, is this going to be a repeat of what we've already seen against these NFC West opponents with the Rams and the Cardinals? But no, the 49ers, they held on. Defense showed up. Offense did. They did enough to pull out a dub. So it was good to see, this team finally hold on to that lead and not give it up like they have multiple times already.
No, absolutely. The Niners, they got up, as you said. They had a comfortable lead, and it looked sketchy, very sketchy. When the game became 23-17, it was like deja vu all over again. We've seen this against the Rams. We've seen this against the Cardinals. Special teams play didn't go our way. The guy basically went untouched. I think maybe two defenders got to him, but the Niners pulled through. It was great to see. We also have Amin the Dream in the building. What's good? Hey, Amin, man, how are you feeling about this Niners victory, man? Are the Niners back, or they should have beat Seattle? This is what they should have did. Let me know, Amin.
They should have beat Seattle. I mean, we needed the win, so I'm glad we got the W. Hell yeah, I'm glad we got the W, and we're also first in the NFC West, so can't complain about that. I'm not gonna sit up here and be like, the Niners are back. We Super Bowl contenders again. We legit. We took care of business, but that's what was expected of us in the first place.
Yeah, I wouldn't say we're Super Bowl contenders. I wouldn't say that, but we needed a win, and we got one against, on a short week, Thursday night football. It was hell on earth, literally, at Levi Stadium, the hottest game in history at Levi Stadium. I mean, guys were sucking wind. We could tell in the second half of this game. So to go on the road, beat your opponent in a hostile environment on a short week. I know we've had Seattle's number since Geno Smith has basically been there. The starting quarterback, Geno, has not beat the 49ers as a starter. But I think this was a great win. I think this can definitely lift the team. This should lift the team spirits. And I like what I saw. We have a few people in the comment section. We have E. Kim. What's good? Let me pull up their comment on the screen. E. Kim says, hey, guys, nice win. Okay. We have Daniel in the building. He says, happy Thursday. Hey, everyone. We also have Jesus. What's good?
I like his profile picture. He got the whole Lakers championship thing going on.
I didn't even notice that. I couldn't see that. Let me take that off the screen. Hey, Zeus says, stay busy. Game level of opposition not greatest, but you can only play who's in front of you. You can only play who's on your schedule. I mean, Seattle, yeah, they lost to the Giants last week, but Seattle's a respectable team. It would definitely, I don't think it was easy. It wasn't an easy victory. Seattle didn't lay down the second half. They proved that, and that game could have easily gone the Seahawks way. Geno being Geno, turnover machine. Yep, that's what he does usually against the Niners. But fellas, real quick, this game could have easily been taken from us. The refs clearly had the Seattle Seahawks covering the spread because they wanted to have them to keep the ball on that punt return that was clearly touched by the Seahawks player, and that was a heady call by Kyle. I was like, challenge? What are they challenging? And when you look at the replay, the Seattle Seahawks, one of the members of the punt team pushed Chris Conley into the Seahawks punt returner, which discombobulated him, and he accidentally touched the ball. and I believe Jalen Graham recovered it. I believe. But fellas, what did you guys think of that play? What did you guys think of the challenge? I don't remember the last time Shanahan challenged a play this season. It seems like it's been rare. But did the refs try to screw us? Clearly, I think they did. What'd you think on that play, Amin?
See, like, like especially like NFL, NBA, like especially like sometimes playoff games or big games when it's like coming down to crunch time and the game is close, and there's always like there's like an important call in the game and it usually takes a long time. But then usually when they're doing that review and like we'll see it on the replay once or twice and we're like, all right, we know what the correct call is, and the refs are taking 5 minutes. It takes a little bit longer, and they're waiting and looking at each and every single angle. But when you get it wrong, and it turns out like a whole like almost a drive later, they're like, oh, they didn't have the same angle that we did. Like, what you mean the refs didn't have the same angle that we did? Like, how does that make sense? They're the referees. Like, how do we, the people sitting at home, got the right angles and the actual visuals needed to make the call on that play, but the refs don't? That don't make no sense. So I don't know if it was us getting cheated or something. They wanted to cover the spread a little bit, or they wanted to be a little bit more of a competitive Thursday night football game, back to back in 2 weeks because it was 24-17. So they wanted to be a competitive 2 weeks in a row. That's a little bit too much for Thursday night football, don't you think, Roger Goodell? 2 weeks of competitive games back to back on Thursday night. I don't know about that, but yeah, took too long. And then when you don't get the right call as well, just a little fishy for sure.
Yeah, it was BS, and I'm with Amin. I'm not buying that the NFL didn't have that angle. It's like, dog, they got all the angles. They got extra angles that we don't even have. So I'm not buying that. But what I did like is how they didn't use that missed opportunity as some kind of excuse or lay down. And so they still fought hard. They finished the game. They pulled it out, even though that call was a huge call and it went against them. So they pushed through the adversity, which was admirable.
No, absolutely. Absolutely. Well said. Yeah, and this was, like I said before, this was a game that the Niners needed to get. And at this point in the season, when you got more losses than you have wins going into this game, it's not really about style points. It's just about getting the W, man. And the Niners did that, scoring 36 points. I was very critical of Brock Purdy last week. I thought it was well-deserved, though, but I thought he played much better in this game. Did he still miss some throws? Absolutely. But he did end up having 10 incompletions. That's much better than 16, in my opinion. But I wanted to go around roundtable and talk about, who gets your offensive game ball for this game. I will kick it off. There were a few good performances. Absolutely. I'm gonna go with someone who I didn't even think would get any PT in this game, to be honest. I'm gonna go with Isaac Guerendo. Of course, he had the big run that basically sealed the game, and you wouldn't know it, but Isaac Guerendo is a rookie, but he made a great play. Instead of scoring a touchdown, having the 49ers defense go back on the field, I mean, eventually they did, but hey, he forced the Seahawks to use more timeouts. He slid down at the 1 or 2 yard line, and he showed the reason why the Niners drafted him with that 4.33 speed. He showed that. And other than that big run, was he super impressive? No. But I don't think he realized he would have to carry the ball 10 times. We saw Jordan Mason get injured. Looks like he had a shoulder injury. I believe he came in for one play at the beginning of the third quarter, and then he basically was out the rest of the game. So kudos to Guerendo. He didn't lose the game for us. Ball security was paramount, and he had the big run. I'm going to give it to Isaac Guerendo. He gets my game ball for tonight. Bay Area baller, who gets your game ball?
Yeah, there's a few choices, but I'm going with the QB. I'm going with 13, Brock Purdy. And it's because, he is coming off a rough game. But tonight, I thought he was efficient. I thought, he was making a bunch of really nice throws. I mean, that first drive took him right down, had to settle for a field goal. We saw the touchdown pass to Debo on the play action wheel route where kind of Debo got loose and Purdy had to get the ball over a defender, but still make sure, Debo caught it before the safety came in and was able to make a tackle attempt on Debo, which Debo just shrugged off and then took it 76 yards. What I'm really liking from Brock is we're seeing mobile Brock, right? He's scrambled for multiple first downs, and it's like that 10-yard split that we know, the 10-yard split he has was faster than Debo. It was faster than Christian McCaffrey at the combine, and he's been showing that off lately. So I really like that. I think it's adding a nice wrinkle. And another thing that was refreshing was felt like he got back to the check down pass, right? Last week we thought, talking, hey, Brock was trying to make too many backyard plays. Tonight, I saw him scanning the field, and he did improv a few times, but he was also hitting his check down, whether it was Mason or Juszczyk or, just whoever was in the flat going through his reads, 1, 2, 3. Oh, I'm going to check it down. So I'm giving it to Brock, 3 touchdowns, 0 picks. And it wasn't like, I don't remember the Seattle defense dropping any picks either. So it was like he took care of the ball today, and it was a nice bounce back performance. So I'm giving it to Brock.
Now, speaking of Brock, even like the one play that he had, it was like in the first quarter, the way where he accused running around and in the pocket, and then he extended the play and hit Jawan Jennings. Like, luckily, I don't know if it was a DB or the safety. Like, I almost thought he might have jumped in and picked it, but he fit it into Jawan Jennings. And there's also one time he was about to take a sack, and he was just running around, and he ended up getting the ball out of bounds, right? Like, even simple things like that, where Brock playing a little bit of backyard football, right? You don't know what he's going to do, running around, but just making good decisions overall in this game. Correndo, I wanted him to get that touchdown, 76-yard touchdown. Kyle don't care if you save clock. You score that touchdown, game's over. It don't matter, Corendo. Go out and score your touchdown, Corendo. I understand why he did it, right? Save the time, conserve the clock, but you put up a touchdown, game's over. Seattle knew the game was over. They were defeated at that point also. But Corendo, I would have liked to seen that. But my offensive game ball goes to Deebo Samuel. Deebo had that play action pass. See what happens, Kyle, when you put in play action pass in the offense. See all the good things that come from play action, Kyle. Who would have thought? Who would have thought, Kyle? But Deebo on that big, a 70-yard, 80-something yard touchdown. He also returned a couple of kicks that I thought some of them were pretty good. And then overall, Deebo just had an impact in this game for the most part, which we haven't seen, the last couple of games. He's also kind of been banged up, but I would probably say Deebo. So Deebo probably gets my game ball. And then it was also cool to see George Kittle get 2 touchdowns, because George is involved in the blocking game a lot, and you don't really see him as often as we used to have those, multiple touchdown games or be, this huge part in the passing game. But George got his touchdowns. And then I also love how they would jump up to their wives. And then even Deebo jumped in there at the end. Deebo jumped in there. Was it Colton McKibbin? Someone else jumped up in there also. And they're calling it the Lumen Leap. Which is cool, but yeah, it was cool to see Kittle get his touchdowns, and even Juszczyk, Juszczyk got a touchdown also, which I thought was dope from Kyle Shanahan to get him a touchdown also. So overall, offense, even though they still struggled, they picked it up at the end and they converted when they needed to. So props to the offense, and then props to a bunch of guys. So you could give game balls to a bunch of guys after today.
No, well said. The offense did definitely still struggle a little bit more for my taste in the red zone. They were 3 of 5 in this game. I'll take that over 1 and 6 any day. So if we continue to prove on that, what more can you really ask for other than touchdowns in the red zone, of course? We have some more people in the chat. Just want to say what's good to them. We have Jose, we got Kenneth, we got John. John says his offensive game ball he would give to Kittle. Yeah, Kittle showed up and showed out, not only blocking, but getting those touchdown catches. Those were huge for us. And we appreciate everyone who's tuning in right now. Make sure you hit that like, no matter if you're watching. Yeah.
We got to give a game ball to Matthew Wright. He was pretty much the offense in the first half. The funny thing is watching him kick, it was like watching a kick in slow motion. You're like, what? Why are you taking your sweet time on this kick? But it was cool because he was hitting.
And speaking of our kicker, Matthew Wright, we just signed off the street. Basically, he was 3 of 3. His longest kick was 41 yards, so that's pretty good. And we gotta applaud Mitch Wishnowsky. I know talking about punting is not a sexy topic, but 4 points. Three were within the 20-yard line. I think 2 were inside the 5. That's incredible. Seattle now has to go 80, 90, 95 yards to try to get a touchdown. So kudos to Mitch. That definitely helps the defense out. Yeah.
Who's out here criticizing Mitch, man? Like, why would you out here? Who in their right mind would even consider criticizing Mitch? Like, Mitch is just that guy. Like, I've always been a fan since day one, since the 49ers drafted Mitch. I always knew he was going to be special. You know what I'm saying?
Of course you were. Of course you were. I got to say, what's good to David? Thanks for tuning in to the stream. Appreciate you, man. Appreciate everyone who's tuning in right now. Man, yeah, special teams, it wasn't perfect, but when your punter does that, your kicker is 100%. That's pretty good in my book.
Jay, while we're on the notion of special teams, and Matt Wright, he was nailing his kicks. But I mean, is he going to be able to kick in 10 days? Like the dude, he had to make a tackle because our kick coverage allowed the returner to get it to the 50-yard line. This is after Laviska Shenault housed the kick return untouched, or he might not have been untouched. No, actually,
two guys.
He was touched. Yeah, because
one of the guys that got him was the kicker. Yeah,
Jalen Graham had a chance to wrap up Shenault, and he just kind of shouldered him, and Shenault bounced off him on the way to the so special teams had some good, and it still had too many mistakes, man. It's like we're still talking about cleaning up certain aspects of special teams.
Yeah, and I think honestly that's something that's probably going to continue to happen. I mean, I haven't really seen them get better.
Inexcusable.
I agree. Hey, and we have someone else who's able to come through. You ready, man? Let me know when you're ready. Give me a thumbs up. You ready? All right. We got Rich Kelts in the building. What's good?
We got the whole squad.
How you feeling tonight? Yeah, we can hear you loud and clear. How you feeling tonight? What you think about that win, man?
Oh man, hey, personally, I feel like doo-doo, but you know, got the cold sweats and the fever and stuff. But hey, I'm here. Hey, I made it. A dub is a dub.
Nah, man. Hey, glad you could be here, man. Get well. But yeah, having the flu is no fun, man. No fun. We were just talking about, who you give your offensive game ball to, and scoring 36 points against a division rival, a short week. I mean, who would you give your offensive game ball to, Kelts?
Got it. You know what? I'm looking at Purdy, but then I'm looking at Garendo. Just a few things, but yeah, probably Purdy, man. I feel like the players won this game. I feel like for me it was a mixed bag. I'm looking at all the third downs, and I feel like every time we get into third down, it's vanilla. It's either it feels like it's shotgun, it's predictable, it's regular routes. There's not a lot of creativity. So I feel like the players won this game, man. On offense, yeah, it's got to be Purdy for me, man. I could say Kittle too, who knows? Juice, got what, 3-4 yards, but they counted. And hey, man, we pulled it off.
No, absolutely. And I said before you got on, going into this game, you got more losses than wins. It's not really about style points at this point. It's about just getting the W. We're tied for first in the NFC West division. Seattle's a difficult place to play. I know Geno has struggled against us. He's 0-5 versus us, but I still think it was a tough win and on a short week. Speaking of the defense and disrupting Geno, he was discombobulated out there. DK Metcalf, it's always fun to see DK Metcalf pissed off on the sideline, having terrible body language. Kind of reminds me of someone, but we ain't going there tonight. But this defense I thought really showed up and showed out. There were a few guys had some turnovers, got some pressures on Geno, making his life a living hell out there tonight. So who would you give your defensive game ball to? Let's start off with the Dream, man. Who stood out tonight on defense to you?
If he continues to play like this, he should be in the Defensive Player of the Year conversation. I got to give it to Fred Warner. Even though Nick Bosa had himself a game, like, Fred Warner's just been balling out this entire year. Like, the play in the beginning of the game, Kenneth Walker was like a 3rd and 4, 3rd and 3. He gets up in there, makes a tackle, makes a stop. And the one play that stood out to me the most, it was like a 2nd and goal. Gino tries to QB sneak it, and Fred jumps all the way over the top, and he makes the stop. Like, Fred, the way, like, the best linebacker in the game right now. Like, the way that Fred is playing, like, you see the videos on Twitter before the game of him motivating the guys, him being the leader. But then he also goes out and balls out every single week. Now, he misses a tackle from time to time, but, like, the way that Fred is playing, the plays that he's making on defense, he almost had the pick at the end of the game also, right? So, like, the way that Fred is playing right now, gotta give him the game ball. I'll leave both side of one of y'all, but Fred Warner, the way that he's playing right now, honestly, he should be in the Defensive Player of the Year conversation because he's been one of the best defensive players, not only in the 49ers, but in the entire league this year.
Hey, Kelts, who stood out to you?
Oh, man, it's got to be the rookies, Mustafa and Green. I mean, you know, for that to be the 2 first secondary interceptions of the season and for it to go to rookies when it comes to Kyle, we see Los D up in the house, Terradome, everybody in the chat. What's up? What's good? Much love. But like Los said, man, there's a lot of the same issues. Like, I'm looking at this like, hey, a dub is a dub, but at the same time, am I confident in the Super Bowl with the 3rd downs and the red zones? And it's hopefully because it's like Kyle's in his bag, you know, for 50 yards, and then it just goes and then it goes stale. And then it's like, what happened? Hey, let's just go shotgun. It's like we're under center, we're doing boots, we're doing these things, and then it's like shotgun, drop back, hitch route, go right, whatever. It just looks as vanilla as can be. I can't wait to watch the all 22 so I can get more you know, frustrated about it. But you know, that's where I am. A dub is a dub, right? You know, but when it comes to the gold standard and 5-0 in Super Bowls, I know it's 5-3 now, but that's never going to go away for some of us old heads that are used to excellence. And that's what Kyle wants to be. Kyle wants to be excellent, but it's like I feel like we're seeing it less and less. You know, he's not out coaching many. You know, and tonight I feel like the players won.
So can one game bring back your confidence that this team could win a Super Bowl? I don't think that's possible. Is that possible?
Nah.
We beat the Chiefs next week and we could talk about it.
If we beat the Chiefs, I still don't think that we can definitely win a Super Bowl. I think this team still has to put back to back games and play
but
and even if Kyle is playing close to the vest or cat and mouse, that's still, to me, I still feel like it's still going to come to bite us at the end. It's like, get in your bag, stay in your bag, and practice, you know, kind of practice what you're like, go to your strengths. That can't be the answer when we're down at the red zone and down in the goal line and on 3rd down is shotgun, drop back, regular passes. Because if that's it, I mean, teams are going to cue in on that.
Doesn't that show when we had 10 at quarterback, everyone knew, or at least 49er fans knew, that Kyle didn't trust Jimmy, right? So we would basically play without Jimmy. We would try to run the ball as much as we can, make the offense super similar for Jimmy, and that's what we had to do. Now Kyle has a quarterback that he trusts, and he's putting the game in his hands. Isn't that what you want? I mean, we saw what we tried to do on a 2-point conversion. Patrick Taylor went right up the middle and got smacked. And I mean, isn't that what you want? He trusts Brock.
It's absolute. I'm not saying run the ball. I'm saying on those goal line situations, instead of a repetitive shotgun, regular drop back with regular routes, do a bootleg. Do what got you down there. You were in your bag under center. It's like he started mixing. First, it did start shotgun. I got it all written. I got some notes and stuff, and I'll share it at some time. But it's like, mix it up, Kyle. Mix it up. Like get Purdy. I mean, because it becomes predictable. I know the teams. If I'm sitting here and I know that when it's 3rd down and more than 2, if it's 3rd and 2 and more, or down by the goal line, and it's more than 2 or 3 yards, he's going to go shotgun regular old pass. Like and teams are watching more film than me probably, so I mean, Baller's been talking about it, quite a bit. Like when we get down there, like where's the creativity? Are we just saving it? But if you're saving it, like you better be practicing your best. So when you do get in that Super Bowl, you do get in those playoffs, like you know what you're going to do and how you're going to do it.
Ain't no saving nothing though. You got to pull out all the ammo. You shouldn't be saving nothing. And as far Niners, I wouldn't say. I think Jay, you said the Niners aren't guaranteed to be Super Bowl contenders or something along those lines.
We haven't played to that standard yet. I thought at this point we would be undefeated or at worst win or lose one game at this point in the season, and we haven't played to that standard. So to judge them based on that, it's fair based on the talent we have, no doubt. But I don't think it's really realistic when we lose to, the Rams, we lose to the Cardinals. I mean,
I think I'm a little more optimistic. I think I'm a little more optimistic than this group. I think we got a chance. Now, I had been saying before the season started, our best chance to win was last year. But put that aside, I feel like we still do have a chance to do some damage. In my opinion, if you get in the playoffs, then you got a shot. Okay, so you got to get in the playoffs. The win today was a step in the right direction. And I got to give you my game ball. You guys had some good picks, Kelts, with the rookies. Man, I loved what I saw from Mustafa. I'm waiting on that injury update because he was playing freaking awesome. And I don't want him to miss any time. Like he was hitting dudes in the backfield. We saw the interception on Gino's overthrow. Renardo was really good. He had the pick. He had the coverage on DK down in the end zone to kind of get him out of bounds, make sure DK couldn't get that toe tap in there. So there were good calls, but man, you guys left me the player of the game on defense. So I appreciate that. And it's Nick Bosa. Okay. All of us have been critical of Nick Bosa at some point this year saying, hey, Nick, we want more. Nick, we want more. And tonight he gave it to us, fellas. So I got to give him the game ball. I'm pretty sure he had double-digit pressures tonight on Gino. And fellas, Sorensen might be watching us, might be watching our Monday shows. Because on Monday, I say, guys, you know what? This offensive line for the Seahawks, the left tackle is good. And I said the right tackle stinks. So let's put Nick Bosa primarily over the right tackle. And we saw that tonight. He beat the shit out of that dude, Forsyth. Like he was beating him around the edge. He was bull rushing him. He had a spin move where he hit Gino. Like it didn't equate to any sacks. But I mean, Gino felt Bosa's presence all game long.
Bro, hey, my mic's on, right? Hey, man, I think I got to go back. I think I made like a draft thing a couple years back for, what is it, Forsyth?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I wanted us to get him in a later round back in the day. So I think it's hilarious, man. I'd have bust myself out on that one. But, yeah, man, he got worked.
I mean, Bosa's going to do that to a lot of tackles. I mean, he should do that. And he didn't record any sacks, but his presence was felt. And that's something that I've been critical of Bosa this season is, I want you to get the sacks. That's why you're the highest paid defensive player in the league. I want you to get the sacks. But if you can't get the sacks, get the pressures, make the quarterback feel you, make the quarterback hurry their throw. And we saw Gino do that tons of times because he saw Bosa. Bosa was getting in like less than 3 seconds. So this is the type of disruptive player we need to see every week from Bosa. And not only in the passing game, but in the running game. He's not, I feel like the last 2 games, he's just not darting straight to the quarterback unless there's a linebacker outside of him who's supposed to keep outside contained. But especially in this game, I think he broke up a screen pass that was supposed to go to Noah Fant.
Last week he intercepted the screen pass.
Exactly.
Again, Bosa, he's evolving here.
He's evolving. He's not just, I need to get the quarterback, especially if he sees the running back kind of, running to the side. He's watching for that screen. So that, kudos to Bosa. hell of a game tonight. This was to me by far his best game. Obviously, he had the most impactful play. I don't know if he's had. I think Bosa has had a few interceptions, but the one last week was pretty damn good against the Cardinals. But it's good to see him have this type of performance, and we actually win a game. So that was huge. So I see your message, Kels. I see you. But yeah, for those watching, feel free to leave us your defensive game ball or a guy that stood out to you tonight on the defensive side of the ball, and feel free to do it on the offensive side of the ball as well. Let's get into.
Hey Jay, real quick, Jay. Kyle, you see what happens when you play your rookies? Like, it might not always work out, but sometimes, like, it's not that bad. It's not as bad as you think it'll be. Like, Renardo Green did his thing. Malik Mustafa did his thing, like y'all said. So, like, hopefully, even Garendo did his thing, like, at the end of the sealing the game with that 76-yard run. Besides that, he was just all right. But, like, put some more confidence, put some more faith in your rookies, Kyle. Like, when they have to step up, some of them can, but you got to give them the opportunity to do that. And they did for the most part today, especially on defense, those two guys. But, Kyle, trust your rookies a little bit more.
No, absolutely.
Hey, well said, because just, mentally, spiritually, physically, it's like they need those reps. They need that confirmation coming in as young dudes. And I know Kyle is kind of old school in that way where he's like, nah, you got to earn it, or the seniority. Like, I get it. I get it in this league. But at the same time, hey, man, play the best guys. And that's the only way they're going to, like, truly develop and get better and make mistakes, man. Hey, make the mistakes earlier in the season. Look at Garendo, man. Oh my God, he can never find the hole. Will he ever find a hole? And then boom, he pop. Like that's what it was. 2-3 carries, done. Nope, it's it, gone. We can't afford not one mistake. It's like, but that kind of mentality isn't trust. It isn't, all the things the meme was just saying, man. You have to do it eventually. You can't always play the fence and play the middle. You got to pick and choose, and shoot the shot. So I agree.
I thought George Odom, I know he's not a rookie, but I thought George Odom played pretty well tonight. I'm sure he wasn't expecting the amount of snaps he got due to the Malik's injury. And I'm sure we'll get an update on his injured ankle in the next few days. Hopefully it's not anything serious, but George Odom had the big pass breakup. I think it was in the first half on DK Metcalf. That could have easily been a touchdown, but that was a good play on Odom's part.
Should have been a touchdown. Geno underthrew that ball. Like,
yeah,
we'll go back and watch the coverage.
Right.
Geno
Odom was there. Odom was there though. He was on his hip, I believe. I guess we got to see the replay, but from my TV, it looked like he put his hand up, at least swatted the ball. He was there. He made it more difficult for DK, because we saw what DK did later in the game. I don't know who was covering on that play, but there was a penalty. You guys know which play I'm talking about? DK had a touchdown, but it was negated by a penalty. I don't know who was on coverage on that. Who
was on coverage on that?
Yeah, I don't.
Was that Odom on that coverage on that one?
I mean,
on his side.
Yeah, if it is and it's man coverage, that's to me that's on Sorensen. Why are you putting Odom in that position to go up against a speed demon and man coverage? But I don't know. We'd have to.
Hey, did y'all
don't get Kelts too worked up right now, man?
Hey, did y'all see? Did y'all see when? I don't know. All of a sudden, I looked at the top of my screen on one play, and I see freaking Campbell split all the way at the top.
With Lockett, right? He was on
I
Lockett.
Just about lost it. Hey, I think it wound up being someone else wound up covering them downfield, but Lockett still made the play. But it was like, but just even seeing him out there was like, oh, here we go. Here it is. Yeah, man, I was gonna say something before that, it'll come back to me.
No, I dig it. I'm trying to think, were there any other rookies that impacted the game? We know Renardo Green, Isaac Garendo. I mean, we saw Patrick Taylor get in there. I thought he was solid. He had 5 carries, 16. Actually, he's not a rookie, but he's basically a rookie on our squad. But he had 5 carries, 16 yards. He also added a catch for 12 yards. I thought he was solid. I mean, he came in a pinch because Mason got injured. I mean, but he didn't lose the game for us. So I thought he was decent.
Jay,
Yeah.
You have no idea how happy I was when that DK Metcalf touchdown got called back, because I was looking at my fantasy team. This bitch, I was like, oh crap, no. And Birdie was also cooking, and I was like, damn it, I'm about to get cooked. And Mason got hurt for me. I'm like, all right, this ain't gonna go well. And then he got called back, and I was like,
and you mentioned Mason looked like he had a shoulder stinger or something like that. Hopefully his injury is not too serious. But yeah, go ahead, Kels.
Jesus Christ, freaking Geno Smith, bro, was just awful. I mean, it feels like every other pass. Like, hey, man, yeah, man, perfect time for the rookies to be in there. Just perfect time all the way. Just he was. I mean, it was his birthday, and I was like, man, the dude, take an edible before the game or something, because it was just off. Like, I was just watching, even in New York last week, I went and watched the New York and Seattle game, went back and watched it. And, he was much better. It just felt like he was way off tonight. So we dodged a bullet with that, man, and I'm not just harping on Kyle to harp on him. I told you I'd be paying attention to these third downs and the coaching, just an extra eye. I almost wish I'm going to take a step back, because just for my own mental health. But the coaching and Geno Smith, we dodged two bullets, man. Like I said in the beginning, the players, the guys who stepped up, they really won this game. I can't wait to go back and watch it all. Just before I take a step back.
Absolutely. I think Geno was affected just by the Niners pass rush. I think that was a huge effect on him. Also, Seattle couldn't really run the ball. So we got to give credit to the Niners run D. It kind of made Seattle one-dimensional. And that's what you want to do when you when you play the Seahawks. I know Geno leads the league in passing going into this game, but that's what you want to do. You want to make Geno beat you. And, Kenneth Walker, he was banged up earlier on in the season. I thought I'm not sure what he did against the Giants. I know the game before that, he looked pretty good. I think that was the game against the Lions on Monday night. He looked pretty good. But, I mean, Kenneth Walker, you look at his stats, he had 14 carries, 32 yards. Hey, I'll take that every day of the week against all of our next opponents. To hold a running back like that caliber to only 32 yards, that's incredible. So kudos.
The Seahawks tried to establish the run. Like last week against the Giants, they didn't even try to. Like Walker carried the ball like 6 times, but tonight Walker had 14 carries. Charbonnet got some. Like they tried to establish the run, probably because they watched the film of what James Conner did to this Niner team. But hey, you're right, Jay. Got to give the Niners credit, because we've criticized this run defense, but tonight they stepped their game up.
Absolutely. Hey, and speaking of step your game up, that's we're going into the next topic. If you're watching this right now, if there's a player that didn't meet your expectations, or if there's a player that you feel like has more to give, or they can be more productive, feel free to drop their name in the comments right now. Or if it's a coaching staff or a unit, feel free to drop it off in the comments. But yeah, let's talk about step your game up, man. We obviously won. We're tied first place. We won 36-24. Against the Seattle Seahawks, NFC West division rival, but not everything was perfect. We know that. So who needs to get this off their chest? Who is a coach, a player that you really need to have them step their game up next week against them good old Kansas City Chiefs?
I've done enough to Kyle Shanahan. So I'm going to take this as a moment to say, well done, Jake Brendel, for stepping your game up. I didn't watch every play of yours, but I did see what you did on that Isaac Arendo freaking 76-yarder, and he was the main. And I've harped on Brendel too much, so I got to take that, because you already know it's Kyle Shanahan for me, and I've already went too hard on him. Hopefully he's watching. Much love, but yeah, hey, well done, Brendel. I'm sweating bullets. Much love to everybody. I got a dip. I had to come through regardless, man, and just say what's up to y'all. And yeah, man. Hey, we're in first place, right? So regardless, we probably I'm still on board with you though, Baller. Like, hey, there is a chance. I'm like, hey, it's not just, but it's like, get in the bag, Kyle Shanahan, and stay in the bag. And then we have the ultimate chance. It can't just be the shotgun drop back. There's got to be more than that.
50-yard bag.
Shotgun,
you said it. You said the 50-yard bag.
Hey, the shotgun drop back is cool. Like, it's cool. Do it half the time, not every third. Not every 3rd and 2 and longer. It just feels like that's what it's going to be. And might throw in some extra. Dude, there was one play where, what was it? I think you and I talked about it, Jay, where the, what they do, a pistol. I think it was a pistol play action with a guard pull. It just looked like, to me, it looked like a mess. And I'm thinking, like, what is the point in even running that? What would that have, like?
Well, so you said it right. Pistol play action. So Pooney on the right side, he pulled. Brindle, who's next to him, is supposed to get the defensive lineman that was lined up originally against Pooney. So Brindle gets over late. The defensive lineman comes in free. This is on 3rd down, and Brock just has to get rid of the ball, and it's an incomplete pass. I mean, if Brindle gets there, I don't know. Maybe if Brock moves to the left behind Brindle, I don't know. Like
it was PTSD from because it was the 3rd and 3 super. It just brought back the memories of But
that when you pull a guard, typically you want to run behind the guard. But if you're doing play action, you would love to know what Kyle would say on that play.
It looked beautiful. It probably looks beautiful. Yeah, it's probably like a half a tick or 2 away from something massive.
Right.
But
it
it's
looks good in practice.
It
looks good in practice, but it's risky. What I think that Kyle's trying to do is he's trying to
do that on second down. Do it on second.
I get where you're coming from.
He's trying to mirror a run play.
He's trying to mirror the run play. They got a run play that looks exactly like that.
They know you ain't running that shit. Like you don't ever.
So they're trying to get the linebacker to step up to make the picture, look similar to a run play. So the linebackers step up. Now you can hit Debo on that dig route or BA on that post, but it's risky. I get where you're coming from. Sometimes you just want to say, hey, man on man, mano a mano, let's just block them straight up and have a good route concept and win that way. So
Kels, before you dip, I just wanted to ask you, have the 49ers righted the ship?
Have they? No, it's too early, man. It's like, but I do feel like things are going to go in the right direction with having these 10 days off. CMC is right around the corner. Slick Rick is right around the corner. Whoever else is coming back. So I think we're going to see a mini momentum. Like we're going to get it. Like all the little negatives that have hit us, I feel like we're going to go into the season of momentum and positives of like, oh, CMC's back. Oh, Ricky's back. Oh, the special teams are doing better. The tacklings, it's just each week, I feel like things will improve. And that's where the run's going to come. We just got to sustain it. And like Baller said, it's definitely possible. I feel like we have the players and the talent. We just got to get the coaching up to the same par and get these players back. Greenlaw and CMC are huge, man. That they are both in their own ways, like our heart and soul. So yeah, man. I think we're about to climb on that momentum train, starting with this win.
All right, sounds good. All right, man.
Hey, feel better, big dog.
This is your flu game, man. Get better.
That Michael Jordan, huh? All right, y'all. Love.
Much love. Hey, so
think about it.
Hey, Eric. So, what was there a player who you thought could have gave us more? Is there a player that needs to step their game up? When we play KC, anyone come to mind?
I'm looking at a coach specifically. I'm looking at the special teams. I'm looking at Brian Schneider. I know the special teams did some positive things today, right? Darrell Luter knocked a ball out on a return. Niners recovered, got a short field. There were some good things that happened on special teams, but these kick returns, dog, a kick return to the house, only the second kick return that's been housed this year, just to add on to some of these special team deficiencies. And what was the other one? I mean, just the fact that our kicker has to make another tackle, and now he's coming up with a shoulder, and we'll find out if Matt Wright's going to be able to kick in 10 days. It's like we got to clean up the coverage unit. I mean, it's not my job to tell them what to do, but guys got to be gap disciplined, and guys got to be playing harder. Like special teams comes down to like effort. Special teams is like effort. Like if you're lollygagging it out there, then the returning team's going to be able to get an angle. So I'm looking at Brian Schneider. Honestly, my good list was a lot longer than my bad list. Yeah. I mean, Isaac Yadam had a pass interference in the end zone. I didn't like that, but I thought Yadam also made a couple good plays. So it's like I didn't want to beat him up too bad. So that's why I'm looking at Schneider, because even though you made some field goals, you got a turnover on the special team game. It's just like, can we play a completely clean special teams game? Because it feels like it hasn't happened in a long time.
Hey, real quick. So Matt, our kicker, right, he got hurt? I didn't see that.
Yeah. He had to make a tackle at the end of the game.
Wow.
They returned it to like the 50-yard line, and little Matt Wright's trying to stick his shoulder in there to knock down the returner, and he took a pretty good shot to the shoulder, and the trainers were examining him.
Right. Wow.
I haven't seen an update yet.
Okay. I must have been setting up for the show. I didn't see that.
Hey, his kicks were looking good too, right? Like
right, they were.
Middle, I'm like, man, we might have a kicker controversy brewing here, but now I don't even know if he's going to make it in 10 days.
Wow, that would be crazy. Hey, what about you, Amin?
Hey, Baller, I don't think there's no kicker controversy. If it was up to me, I would let Matthew Wright be the new kicker of the 49ers. But yeah, that's probably not going to happen. But I'm not a believer in Moody, but that is what it is. Step your game up. I'm going to put it like this. The offense had themselves a better game. But at the same time, playing KC next week, the week after that, playing Dallas, Gino helped you out because he made some stupid decisions that game with 2 interceptions that didn't help. But you go down and play Kansas City next week, and you go down and you're not able to convert touchdowns into 6 points, and you're kicking field goal after field goal after field goal. It's not going to be easy for your defense to stop Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City offense. And they're coming off a bye week. So as much as we get 10 days of rest, they get a little bit more because they don't got to play this week. And then they also get to come back and next week. And they also have a fresh set of legs as well as we do. So, 49ers offense in general, and even Kyle, I don't know if it's just me, but, even though we were running the football more, back in Atlanta, Kyle Shanahan in Atlanta was a pass-heavy offense, and they were known for a pass-heavy offense. Matt Ryan was MVP. And even though we are mixing in the run a little bit more, in the red zone, like Kel said, why is there so many dropbacks? Do simple stuff. It doesn't have to be that many dropbacks, even when Kyle does try to mix it up. I still remember that Rams game where we were at, the 2 or 3 yard line. Instead of running it with Jordan Mason, he tried to go a screen pass to Deebo Samuel, and I think it was intercepted, or it was a fumble on the play. Kyle, you don't want to make things too complicated. Just do simple things. But going and looking at next week and even looking at the rest of the season, this offense definitely has to be better. It just has to, especially in the red zone, because having field goal, not being able to convert that many times in the red zone, even though we kind of fixed it up at the end a little bit, not great.
No, well said. I thought the defense overall played really well, shutting down the running game, making the Seattle Seahawks offense one-dimensional. But once again, we saw in the second half, the Seahawks, they had 2 long drives on our defense. And I think both of them, or at least one of them, started with the Seahawks. Their back was to their goal line. They were starting the drive on the 5-yard line. So one of those drives was 15 plays, 70 yards. Another one of those drives was 13 plays, 94 yards. So we've seen that in consecutive weeks where the 49ers defense in the second half, I don't know if it's we get tired, whatever, but we allow long drives from the offense. So I think that's something that we can definitely improve on. Obviously, you got to get off the field on third down. That's a big deal. And obviously you can't have penalties on the defensive side of the ball to allow the opposing team to continue their offensive drive. So that's something I think definitely needs to get cleaned up. It would be nice to shut out an opposing team. Is that likely? Probably not. But it's happened in consecutive weeks. So that's definitely something that needs to get cleaned up.
One more guy. Leonard Floyd, where you been at, Leonard Floyd? Like, I haven't heard your name in like the last 3 weeks, 4 weeks.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. Like, I don't know where he's been at. I'm watching the games. I just don't see nothing. Like, I don't see nothing.
See the impact.
Yeah, I don't see the impact at all. So, and like the funny thing is, like I remember Leonard Floyd put out like an Instagram video or something like that. But once we found out that he got signed to Niners, he's like, the Niners, y'all gonna get the best version of me this upcoming season. I'm gonna bring y'all the best of me. Like, I haven't seen nothing. Like, you were better everywhere else than you've been here so far. Like, I hope you pick it up. But Leonard Floyd, you got to step your game up. And then you guys already covered special teams. Like, special teams just has to be better, even though they're making plays. It seems like every kick return gets returned at least to like the 30-yard line or like the 33, 35-yard line. Like, almost every kick return. So when they do decide to take it out. So special teams has to be better. Even looking at like the rest of the season, the best example is that Niners-Packers game when it was like hella cold. The Niners offense couldn't score a single touchdown, but because the Packers special teams gave it that block punt, we ended up winning that game. But special teams matters, and if this Niners team continues to play like this on special teams, it's not going to be great.
One guy that we haven't mentioned his name, and we're almost hitting up an hour on the show, is the Ayuk show. Brandon Ayuk. Now, Purdy spread the ball around. Debo had 5 targets. Kittle had 6 targets. Ayuk only had 4. Jennings had 5. Hell, even Juice had 4 targets. As E mentioned earlier in the show, Brock was hitting his checkdowns, but I want to see more from Ayuk. I'm not necessarily calling him out. I don't know if Shanahan needs to give him more plays early on or whatever. If Brock needs to look towards him, I don't know. I don't know if BA was able to get open. I'm not sure. But when I see you only had 2 catches, 37 yards, that's not enough. We need to definitely see more from BA. And he was coming off a great game where he was targeted double-digit times. So I don't know what happened in this game. Maybe Seattle rolled coverage to his side. I don't know.
Important detail to add after Jay dropped him from his fantasy team. Someone picked it back up again, and then he just.
Isn't that funny how that happens? Like you never know. It's a week-to-week league, man. I mean, so what could have been the difference? You go from 12 targets to 4. I mean, clearly they wanted to get Debo involved early, which I love. Definitely have to have Debo involved. He kind of set the tone. Kittle was a monster in this game, but yeah, BA. I wish I would have seen more for sure.
I think it comes down to coverage. It comes down to exactly, what the Seahawks were doing. Were they putting a safety over them? I also thought Kyle was making more of a conservative effort to run the ball, right? So if you're running the ball more, that means there's less targets to go around. So I think there's more big games from BA to come. But tonight, it wasn't his night, but coming up here shortly, he's going to have another big game.
No, absolutely. And speaking of that run-pass ratio, Purdy had 28 pass attempts, and we ran the ball 33 times. So I think that's a ratio that I think we all can agree with. Shanahan had the lead. We had the lead, and we continued to run the ball even when Jordan Mason was out. So, kudos to Shanahan for continuing running the ball, and that's definitely something we need in this offense. Fellas, was anything else that stood out? A player we didn't name? Anything else you have on this game? I feel like the Niners have kind of righted the ship. We're trending toward the right direction. I'll say that. Like Lowe's D kind of said, we won, but we still have things we need to take care of. We need to improve on. But I think overall, we had to get the win. And it's not really about style points when you're trying to get to 500. It's just about getting a win. And I think what did you feel about that, E? You glad we got the win, or you wanted more?
Oh, we needed a win. We absolutely desperately needed a win. a win's a win. I thought we outplayed the Rams. I thought we outplayed the Cardinals. Still, we took L's. So had to get in the win column. But there was one player that I don't think was mentioned at all during this show, and I thought he was freaking awesome. And he's been awesome all year. Anyone have a guess? Diamador Lenore.
Okay. Yep.
Demo was freaking awesome. I mean, he stuck Kenneth Walker in the backfield, like had a TFL early in the first quarter, and he just reminds you of how good he is in the run game. Like he's a rare breed of corner that just sticks his nose in there like a pit bull. He just comes after you. And then in coverage, I thought he was sticky. I just thought anytime the ball, Geno Smith threw the ball in Demo's direction, like it was incomplete.
Yeah.
Just with the sticky coverage. So Demo got to shout him out because he was just awesome again.
No, you're absolutely right. Absolutely right. I don't know how we forgot to mention Demo, especially with the absence of Mooney Ward. Demo played really well. No, absolutely. Real quick, Glory says refs been trying to take games away from us all year. We got to score a lot to beat them too. I wouldn't say all that, but that was definitely an egregious missed call on that fumble punt. That's for sure.
Hey, Jay. We were talking a little bit about it backstage, but I'm happy we got the W, but at the same time, we could sit up here and talk about this a little bit, but at the same time, this was a game that we expected to win, and we should have come out and win. I just felt like it wasn't as dominant as necessarily it should have been. And you were out here talking about, our preseason expectations should compared to what it's been now, should be different. But at the same time, I don't expect the Niners to come out and beat Kansas City next week. I don't expect the Niners to come out and go out and play the Buffalo Bills and go out and beat the Bills later on in the season. I could see them winning, but it's not I expect the Seahawks game though. I expect them to win, right? And I expect them to have a score like this, and the defense comes out and plays well. The offense is their thing, especially with Geno at quarterback, because we've been dominating the Seahawks the last the last 4 or 5 times since Geno's been there. We've been dominating the Seahawks, right? So that's what I expect from this team against the Seahawks. But at the same time, looking going forward to next week, if special teams has their miscues, if Kyle Shanahan can't convert, getting into the red zone into touchdowns and just kicking field goals over and over and over again, especially against good teams, because in the playoffs you're playing good teams. You're not playing, the Seahawks every week or the Cardinals. You're playing legit teams. So I don't know. I'm happy with the win. I'm glad we're the first seed, but there's still a lot of questions that I have. And as much as I'm happy with the win, it was a game that we expected to win and we should have won. And I'm glad we took care of business, but there's still a lot of questions that are left to be answered, at least for me personally.
I agree with you to a certain extent. I thought the Niners did well in areas where we struggled last week, slowing that. We were unable to slow down Connor last week. We slowed down Walker this week. So that's an improvement in my book. Purdy looked much better. He had only 10 incompletions in this game. The previous game, he had 16. Debo showed up and showed out. He was non-existent last week. Kittle had a hell of a game in tonight's game. So I think, that's why I asked Kels earlier, can one game get you confident again that this team can make it to the Super Bowl? And I don't think any victory could do that. Even if we beat KC next week, does that mean we're going to make it to the Super Bowl? I don't think so.
I disagree. You beat KC next week. That's a statement game. KC hasn't lost a game yet. And let me tell you, the Niners, they got to win. They don't got to, but I really want them to, because Kansas City's just been kicking our ass, it feels like, for years. So that should be some extra motivation. Anytime someone kicks your butt in something repetitively, you want to beat them so bad. Amin knows this feeling. I've beat him in Madden 100 times in a row, but he wants to beat me so bad. It's like he wants to win more than I do, but I still win. But
you still win.
Nonetheless, in this football scenario that I'm talking about, the Niners should want this game more, right? This team's 3-3. Kansas City's 5-0. They got their bye week. The games in San Francisco, Kansas City's without Rashee Rice. They're without Isaiah Pacheco. And not only, the injuries aside, it's just the Niners should want this game more, in my opinion. They should want it more. It's at home. You win that game, you beat the Super Bowl champ. In my opinion, I'm going to be feeling really good. I think a lot of people in this fan base will be feeling really good. And it would be a big time win because this is a rivalry, whether it's one-sided or what. We've seen this team multiple times in the Super Bowl. I think they kicked our butt in the regular season too. So they did. Yeah, they did a few years ago. But
yeah,
they win that game.
What's your score prediction, E? Lay it on the line, man. What you think?
Hey, I think the Niners are going to want it more. KC does have a pretty good defense. I mean, we already know, that defensive coordinator is really good. McDuffie,
Spags.
Jones.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you. Spags is no joke. So I don't think it's going to be some big time shootout. I'm going to say 24-20. Niners pull it out. And let me elaborate on that. I think it's going to be a BA game. BA was quiet tonight. I think it's going to be a big Brandon Ayuk game. Going to kind of get some revenge on McDuffie, who maybe got the better of him in the Super Bowl. I think BA is going to come out and have 100+ yards and a touchdown.
What say you? The dream?
Oh yeah, we ain't beating Kansas City. That's not happening. That's not happening. I'm just being real. I can't get my hopes up because if I get my hopes up and then I already know next week I'm probably gonna be let down again because I've been down this road so many times year after year after year. We start off slow, then I get hope, and then we have a game like Detroit last year where we're down and we make that great comeback, and then you get hope for the Super Bowl that this is we're gonna beat Kansas City in the Super Bowl. This is our revenge. This is our year, and then we end up losing. So I'm not gonna get my hopes up. No, it's not gonna happen. Low and Kyle Shanahan. The reason why I'm saying this is not because Kansas City's great or they're a good team, but the reason why I'm saying this is going back to that Vikings game last year, Brian Flores cooked Kyle Shanahan. What happened this year? Kyle Shanahan and that offense had no answer for that Vikings defense. And what do the Vikings defense and the Chiefs defense have in common? They like to blitz a lot. They like to bring different blitz packages. And does Kyle Shanahan adjust to that? Has he adjusted to that? He didn't do it against Brian Flores and the Vikings. And Brian Flores is I don't think he's as good as Spagnuolo as a defensive coordinator. Not to mention the Vikings don't have Chris Jones on that defensive line. Did Kyle make any adjustments in that Vikings game? No, he got stumped 2 years in a row. So, I'm not saying I don't trust Brock in this offense. I don't trust Brock or trust Jordan Mason or trust the guys that we have on this team. But will Kyle have the right game plan going into the game? And even if he needs to make those adjustments in the game, will Kyle make the right adjustments to counter what Spags is throwing at him? I don't know, because he didn't do it against the Vikings and Brian Flores. They run similar, defensive schemes. So I just don't. I don't think it'll happen. Also, special teams. Yeah, I don't think it'll happen.
So, how many points are the Chiefs winning by?
I don't think it's gonna be that high scoring. I think our defense will come out and play. I'm gonna say 30, 20, 24.
I would say that's high scoring, but I think the Chiefs definitely have a coaching advantage. I know I don't have the exact number, but Andy Reid his record after a bye week.
After the bye, Andy Reid. I forgot about that. That's a good one.
Yeah. And the NFL schedule makers, they did. This wasn't by accident. So the Chiefs played on Monday night against the Saints. They blew them out, right? They gave the Chiefs 13 days off. So the Chiefs don't play again until they play us. So we both have a mini bye, basically. And we know Spags is a hell of a defensive coordinator. We know they have Chris Jones. They've got a lot of guys on that squad. We are at home, though. That's a plus, right?
You got to them at home last time. Jay, don't make a difference. And that game we had CMC. We don't got CMC.
wasn't that was 2 years ago?
That was his first game.
Yeah, that was
his like first game. Like,
and I think that was in
got
KC.
here like 2 before that.
Okay,
I think that was in KC.
But to be fair though, at least we had CMC available. Like this game, we don't have CMC available at all.
Yeah. And we don't know the status of Jordan Mason.
We got Garendo.
We got IG.
Garendo,
we got IG, baby.
We might have Matt Breida.
Wow. My heart wants to take the Niners.
Jay, don't do it, Jay. Don't do it. It's not worth it, Jay. It's not worth it, Jay.
My heart wants to take the Niners, but my head is saying the Chiefs on a bye week with Patrick Mahomes. I think the Chiefs probably win this one. I think it'll be close, like 24-23 or something like that. I think.
Yeah, Julian Edelman did the same thing. Julian Edelman bet on the Niners to win the Super Bowl. And look at how that turned out for him. Even he said it. He was like, my mind says the Chiefs, but my heart says the Niners because I'm a Bay Area kid. And he lost money. So, like, yeah, don't do it, Jay.
Yeah, I think the Chiefs may edge us. I think they definitely have a coaching advantage. And yeah.
For sure, yeah.
So, well, hey, man, we appreciate everyone tuning in to the stream tonight. We'll be back for sure. I guess we'll be back Monday night in about 14 days, maybe something like that. But yeah, we appreciate everyone tuning in. Feel free, roundtable, give your final thoughts on the game or against the Chiefs, or how you think the Niners are standing. We are first in the division, and then we'll call it a night. What you got, Bay Area Baller?
Hey, appreciate chatting with you guys. Feeling good after this win. You beat Kansas City, and I'm going to be feeling great after that win. Like, to me, this game coming up means a lot, man. Kansas City's had our number. They've broken our hearts. Like, we got to get them one time, dude. They're undefeated right now. Let's give them that first notch in the L column. So, hey, I have hope. You know, I think this team still can be a contender, in my opinion. You get in the playoffs, you have a chance. So it starts getting a win against Pat Mahomes and company. So it's going to be a good one. But, hey, fellas, love chatting with you after a victory. So can't wait to talk again soon.
Absolutely. Hey, I just want to say what's good to everyone that was in the chat tonight. I see you, G12. Everyone else that was in the chat, we appreciate it. But yeah, I could see us losing to KC. We would lose the battle, but it doesn't necessarily mean you lose the war. And like Bay Area Baller said, we could still. I'm talking about this season. I'm not talking about this season. We could lose to KC, but the season isn't over. That's what I'm saying. That's that. Battle, war, you know what I'm saying? But go ahead, close it out, man. Go ahead, close it out. What you got, man?
You know, we always end it off with a bang, bang Niner gang. Glad we got the W. So can't complain. But next week's gonna be interesting. Next week will tell me a lot about this 49ers football team. And then Matt, I don't know if there's any Sharks fans, but Matt Celebrini got himself his first goal in the NHL season. So I think his dad is like a Warriors doctor, head doctor, or something like that. So
okay.
Shout out the Sharks season starts tonight, so props to them. Hopefully, I gotta depend on that a little bit later.
Go Sharks!
Go Sharks! And lastly, gotta shout out my last team. Go Lakers! And then we out of here. We out.
Peace, man. See y'all next time.